Is he saying that it's wrong to seek a sign? Well, there's actually, seems kind of reasonable that you would want to confirm. Right? That Jesus shows up and he's saying, I am sent from God. I'm delivering a message from the Lord. Well, you're going to want to, can we get some credentials? Right? Show us that you're actually from God. Right? That makes kind of sense. Kind of makes sense to someone you'd want to actually know they're speaking from God. So that's not all that unusual. However, I think there's a little something else going on here than that. We also see that whenever John's disciples come to Jesus asking for a sign, he gives it. Right? They come and they say, hey, John wants us to ask you, are you really the one? And what does he do? He gives them a sign. Yeah, look at these miracles I'm doing. Good news is being preached. Go back and tell John what you saw. Gives them a sign. Famous example, Gideon. Right? God calls him to deliver the people of Israel, and what does he do? He asks for a sign. Multiple signs. It's almost comical. Yeah, the famous one is the fleece. He says, okay, God, here I'm going to set out this fleece, and if I wake up in the morning and the fleece is dry, like everything else is covered in dew, but the fleece is dry, I'll know it was from you. Wakes up the next morning, the fleece is dry. He goes, well, maybe there could have been some fluke. So here's what we're going to do. I want to put the fleece out, and if the fleece is wet and everything else is dry, now give me a sign, right? So he does it, and God does it, right? But here's the thing. We ask for a sign, but it's usually not because we want a sign. There's some insecurity, there's some doubt, there's some lack of faith, and that's what we're listening to. It's not that we really want a sign. I think here's the two key points to remember. One, Pharisees and Sadducees here, they are not sincere. They are not honestly, sincerely coming to Jesus requesting that they might believe and follow. Please just show us that you are the one. No, that's not how they're asking. It says that they came to test him. That word test can also be translated tempt. They're trying to trap him. They're trying to trip him up. They're trying to find something they can use against him. They're not honestly seeking. And second, they seek a sign from heaven. Oh, so you're from God. Okay, show us a sign from heaven. Well, all these earthly signs that he's been giving them aren't enough. This isn't his first day on the job. Okay, he's been around for well over a year or so now. They know, they've seen the miracles. They've seen the people healed. They've seen the demons cast out. They've heard the message he proclaimed. Those signs aren't good enough. No, give us something special from heaven that only would come from heaven. Well, these earthly signs he's given you are good enough. And that's one problem that we often have, is we've been given a lot. I'll hear skeptics or critics or people who are just not wanting to believe say something like, well, if Jesus would show up, I mean, if he just showed up in front of me, then I would believe. Would you? Would you really? Because I've actually had people who flat out told me that if they got some kind of miraculous sign from heaven, they would just think they're going a little crazy. They wouldn't seek a priest, they would seek a psychiatrist. They've told me that. And so the point is that we don't always want a sign because we want a sign. And even if we got the sign, we're not going to believe it. Like Gideon, right? He gets the sign, he goes, well, how about we do this? Give me another sign. So often, receiving a sign doesn't usually do much to strengthen our resolve. Abraham was given signs. God worked miracles in the life of Abraham. But did Abraham fully trust God even though he had every reason to believe? No, God had promised him a son. Well, time was dragging on and he wasn't getting a son. Despite the signs he had been given of God's power and faithfulness, he took matters into his own hands. Again, Gideon was given a sign, and he asked for another. What God has already given, what God has already shown, what God has already provided is enough. And whenever you see, maybe it's you, maybe it's someone else who has the Word of God in front of them, who has all the evidence you could possibly need, and they're going, show me a sign. Give me a reason to believe it. You have a reason. What God has already given us should be enough.